Folks, welcome into the Closing Line, Saturday, May 26th. It is a Saturday here in late May. Full baseball card that we are sitting here anticipating, waiting, and ready to go. Welcome into the show, folks. I'm your host today, Donnie Rightside, with my partner, crime, the big man on campus. Should be a lot action-packed show. We'll go over a little bit what happened last night, but mainly we're going to focus on each and every Major League Baseball game today. See if we can pick on some points and some ways that we could certainly make you some money out there. Big man, how's it going today? Saturday in your neck of the woods.
Pretty good. How are you, Donnie?
Hey, man, doing good. Hey, look, Saturday, we're here. We're ready to go. We'll have some fun. And certainly Game 7s are on the horizon, or so we think, Jeff, with a little bit of Golden State action tonight. Looks like it's going to be a little bit too easy for Golden State to push a Game 7. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, it looks to be a game that they'll get the job done in. I mean, if they lose this, I don't know what to say. No Chris Paul, they're at home. Should be able to get the job done here. So, and look, I mean, two Game 7s would be pretty nice. After the poor series in the last round, I wouldn't mind seeing it. Yeah, we'll get to Game 7.
Yeah, obviously a high number on that line. If we take a look right now, last time I checked, it was last night. It was around 11.5, 12. Now peeking through, Jeff, at Chris at -13 tonight. So it doesn't look like there's too much anticipation for this Game 6. More or less Houston checking into a hotel and then getting back to Houston, trying to rally the troops for Game 7 here.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. I mean, this is a big number, but this just has the feel of like 110-95 or something. I mean, that just has the feel of it. So we'll see. Obviously Houston is going to want to try to close it out. But as we saw last night, listen, the Warriors, the Cavs, they're good basketball teams. They're not going to go away quietly. So, yeah, they'll win. Are they going to cover? It's a lot of points, man.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that. It is a lot there, but you figure they would coast in this game because what does Houston really have to gain? I mean, if they're going to go all out in this game and lose, then they'd be maybe tired heading home for Game 7. But we'll certainly check that out tonight, folks. Just tuning in here, thanks for coming in. Welcome into the chat box. Say hello. Give us a follow at SBR Sports Picks. Also, if you haven't done so yet on YouTube, hit the subscribe button down there. Every single time a show goes live on the Sportsbook Network, you'll get that notification. Can chime in and hit into the chat box and come in and say hello. We'll have a lot of fun today. This is the Saturday sit down. Not really too much of a time frame. We like to use maybe about an hour, but we certainly have the ability to go over a little bit here and have some fun today, depending on some of the numbers that we hit. Just reviewed a little bit of basketball, but again, we're going to hit on some baseball action today and have a lot of fun. But Jeff, before we get to that, last night, LeBron James out there again with a stellar performance in a game where they're in an elimination game and steps on the gas pedal again. Happens every single night.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's still people out there that don't like LeBron James. And imagine being that guy. I mean, you can't enjoy the level of who LeBron James is because you want to let that get in the way of it. I mean, just sit back and watch the greatness in front of you. In 5-10 years, you're not going to be able to. And you're going to think back and say, wow, we saw one of the great players in history, and I hated the whole time because I didn't like him because deep down I was insecure and was jealous that I'm not him and he's who he is. It's just a shame, really. He's a great player. He's amazing, and I think it's time to just respect greatness. Donnie, I will mention to you, there is a bet today going on how many times you will say, we're going to have some fun today. The bet is set at 7, so we'll hope that you forget during this time.
Yeah, no, we'll see. Hey, if anybody has some money, want to DM me behind the scenes, I'll make sure we hit the over or the under on that terminology because inside information, Jeff, as we like to say, is what? The best information.
And also, Donnie, I wanted to let you know, big game today for your friend Shad Khan from the Jaguars. Big game for him. His club is trying to be the last representative of the Premier League. $250 million game, Donnie, in Wembley today with Fulham against Aston Villa. So Shad Khan and his mustache will be there, ready to go. Should be a good one. Big day in sports, Donnie. A lot going on.
No, we'll have some fun here. Why don't we get right into it, Jeff? Here we'll start breaking down some baseball. Now, we're going to go over the entire card today. Usually we'll go directly by rotation, but sometimes when there's an outlying game, like the one game at 1 o'clock, we'll pick on that one first. Then we'll go strictly by rotation all the way down. Whatever notes, news notes, whatever you guys have in the chat box, please feel free to let us know. We'll have some fun getting after it. But we'll start with that 1 o'clock game, Jeff, 9:25, 9:26, Atlanta and Boston. Last night, a lot of people, wind blowing out, thinking that game was going to go over. Ends up a 6-2 final. semifinal. The Boston Red Sox, after being down 2-0, come back with a nice victory. That's a tough out, Boston, man. They're going to hit. Mookie Betts right now on pace for an MVP-type season. JD Martinez out of his mind at this point. Moreland has been amazing. They even cut Hanley Ramirez because they're so stocked full of talent, Jeff, up there in Boston, Massachusetts. If we take a look today, it's going to be Newcomb and Pomerantz on the mound, both lefties, 58% of the early tickets, Jeff, actually backing the Atlanta Braves in this situation. Opened up at -125 at Pinnacle, -140 at Chris. Both of those numbers hovering in the mid-120s, looking at 130, 126, 129, depending where you're out there shopping at. Just some advanced numbers that we could take a look at. If we're looking at Newcomb, the way you get to him, Jeff, for the season, since he's a lefty, actually is by the left-handed side. I don't know if Boston's going to fully be able to take advantage of that lefty matchup because obviously they hit much better from the right-hand side. Pomerantz, if you want to get after him, Jeff, seems like you can do it from the right-hand side. And the good part about that is Atlanta does have a lot of right-handed bats. Obviously, Freddie Freeman coming from the left-hand side. But again, if you're setting up a few things, those home splits and away splits that we like to look at, this is one of the ballparks that you like to see because left-handed side, if we're taking a look at Pomerantz, Jeff, a 7.23 xFIP, FIP, and his xFIP is a 5.69. So you can get him from the right-handed side. And for what I'm seeing, in the Northeast, nice weather on the horizon, especially up in Boston, probably as well.
Yeah, but I wonder at what point are we going to say Sean Newcomb's a pretty good pitcher? I mean, he's been a little lucky this year, but you look at his overall numbers, they're not bad. And listen, Boston struggles against left-handed pitchers generally. I mean, they're only hitting about 240 against lefties this year. This Braves team's been really good against whoever is thrown out against them. Drew Pomerantz, sound like he's pitched well. Newcomb doesn't give up home runs. He's pretty good control-wise, and they've won 6 of his 9 starts. Problem I have here is when I want to bet against Boston, I want to get like a +150 back, a +155, something like that. I mean, I'm getting what, +110 here? Really not in my wheelhouse. Not really looking to do this. Gun in my head, I'd kind of lean with Atlanta. You look at Newcomb, last 3 starts, Donnie, 18 innings, he's given up 1 earned run. He's been very good. Keep in mind, though, 2 of those starts are against Miami. I'm going to pass on this one. I'm just not getting enough back to like Atlanta here. If I'm getting the price I was getting last night, well, then I'd be more interested. But at basically 110, I'm good.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree with you on that. But if you are just looking from a side perspective, just trying to read some lines in there, it looks clear that Atlanta is the play today. When you go up and down both of these lineups, Jeff, I know what is value when you're taking a look at the total. I like to be around that, usually 8.5, 9, because 4 to 4 is going to get you at least a push in that instance. When you're looking at 10.5, Jeff, you need 11 to cash that ticket. And both of these lineups, it's an American League ballpark. It's a small ballpark. It's going to be warm. The wind's blowing out. But you saw the same type of effects last night, Jeff, right? Tehran can be had at times. So can Rodriguez be had at times. 6-2 final was pretty much lucky to get that 6-2 final. That game was a stone cold under. But again, 5-5, Jeff, is what you would be picking on needing to get 6-5, obviously, as a winner in that one. So I don't think there's overall too much advantage to be picking on either way. But hey, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have much, these bullpens aren't too bad. No. Newcomb, I think Newcomb's going to have pretty good success here. I mean, if Newcomb can give you some innings here, I think this one, I don't see how we'll have 11 runs. I mean, I don't know that Boston's going to have a ton of success. They're not great against left-handed pitchers. We'll see if Pomerantz can give you 5 innings. I think this game will stay under. But again, a game not really big on my card.
Yeah, no, neither am I. I don't like, if you're leaning on the over, 10.5 is a tough number. If you're leaning on a side right here, you can really make a point. Even looking at Newcomb, Jeff, from the left-hand side, when you're in that National League environment, like you said, 2 versus the Marlins, you get a breather in that lineup. Once you get past JT Realmuto, Justin Bour, you get some breathers out there. And the pitcher. When you look at this Boston lineup, Jeff, at home, you don't get a breather,
No, you're totally right.
Next up, Jeff, 901, 902. Now's the time we're going to hit directly rotation all the way down. We'll have some fun. Pittsburgh, how many is that, Jeff? 2? We're going to have some fun?
That's the third.
That's third. All right, we're almost there. I want to get to, was it 7.5 you set? Let me mark it down. 7. All right, so we got 3.
Just do it naturally. You'll definitely do it. I mean, you say it like every.
I'm going to absolutely make sure I do it. I'm going to hope to get it by the 4th game for us.
Yes.
901, 902, St. Louis, Pittsburgh, Flaherty, Williams. Good pitching match here on the mound, Jeff. If you don't know about Jack Flaherty, limited starts here, but he's been really good at this point. If you look from Williams' perspective, the best thing you could probably say about him, Jeff, is he gives you a yeoman effort every time out. I mean, if you look at his overall numbers, 5, 6, 7 innings, 2, 3, 4 earned runs, very limited there when you're going to have, what do you say, like a blow-up ability, if that's even a possible word, where, he's going to go 2 innings and give up 7 earned runs. Doesn't seem to be in his MO. PNC Bank Park, usually is playing more to a pitcher's park than a hitter's park. If you take a look at the numbers out there, opened up as a small favorite to Pittsburgh, Jeff. Completely flipped around now, though, if you're taking a look over to St. Louis's side. If you take a look at some advanced numbers, Jeff, xFIP and FIP, if you're looking at two of those numbers, xFIP 2.34 to lefties, 3.72 xFIP. If you're looking from the right-hand side, 3.28, 2.98. Damn near unhittable at this point, Jeff. If we're looking at Williams there, he can be had a little bit from the left-hand side, but the problem is that you run into, Jeff, the St. Louis Cardinals can't really attack you from the left side.
No, they can't. And, Jack Flaherty, if you're going to back Jack Flaherty, I would probably do it in the first five. I wouldn't want to get involved with the St. Louis Cardinal bullpen. They're not good. They've struggled. I think they can get to Tyrell Williams here, or Tyler Williams, whatever his name is. Yeah,
almost.
I was wrong both times. Trevor Williams. I think they can get to him. They're actually hitting right now a bit. You did mention the left side stuff, but they are hitting right now. I think they're hitting 280 over the last week or so. I've said before, I don't have a ton of success with St. Louis betting on or against them. They're just one of those teams I don't really even look at. But I think if you're looking at St. Louis, make sure you understand they don't have a particularly good bullpen. They could totally throw away a good outing from Jack Flaherty, who, last time he faced the Phillies, shut them down. He's a good young pitcher.
Yeah, Tyler O'Neill in the middle of that lineup for St. Louis has been good as well. And if you're taking a look from a Pittsburgh perspective, Jeff, today, welcome back Starling Marte. You're expected to be activated on the DL and probably slide right into that 3-hole today. So they do have a decent lineup overall when you look at it. But the only problem with Marte coming back, Jeff, is you lose Austin Meadows, who might have been your best batter out there. So coming off the DL, what is Marte going to provide? But when you look at that first three, it used to be, remember when McCutchen had wheels and you were running out there, Harrison, Polanco, Marte, McCutchen, you had power and speed out there. At least you have three of those four guys still left. Josh Bell pulling up the 4-hole. I overall like the Pittsburgh team. I like their bullpen. I like their starting lineup. But in this situation, you're right, Jeff. I think it might be a sneaky play here to take a look at St. Louis first five, because if you're looking overall from a perspective, I think Flaherty can go out there and fool them for 5 innings there. Maybe Trevor Williams dips back to that, 2 to 3 runs over 5 or 6 innings. You might be able to steal one.
I agree. That's where I would be looking here if I had to play it.
Last night, Jeff, interesting one, 903, 904. The Mets looking like they were going to pull one out with a victory, but the Brewers hold on in extra innings yesterday. Good effort by Syndergaard. Good effort by Gurry yesterday. If we take a look today, Jeff, Vargas, the lefty on the mound versus Anderson. 65% of the early tickets coming in with the Milwaukee Brewers in this one, Jeff. Opened up at 160, 165. But look at this, Jeff. After one 5-inning solid outing versus who? I believe it was the Marlins Vargas last went up against. Now he's going to go up against Milwaukee. Now, there are some believers out there. If you look at his overall and extended numbers for Vargas, you can tattoo him from the left-handed side. But again, Jeff, looking at the advanced lineup for the Milwaukee Brewers, looks like Yelich might be the only lefty in that entire lineup. You could still get him from the right-hand side, don't get me wrong, but you want to angle him up, and you could pop him pretty good from the left side. If you look at Anderson today, he could be had, Jeff, from both sides of the plate. xFIP numbers at 5.08 and 5.58 in this one. Maybe a sneaky shot for the Mets here, Jeff?
Yeah, that's the way I'm looking here. I'm looking towards the Mets. You look at Jason Vargas. Okay, he's not a good pitcher. We've talked about that. He's actually a pretty poor pitcher, frankly. But he's coming off a good outing, and he's facing a team, Donnie, that I think at this point is a fade against a left-handed pitcher. You look at lefties, Milwaukee, 3.7 runs a game, hitting just 216. This offense is struggling against left-handed pitching. They just do. They're a lot, when you have those kind of matchups, you generally want to look towards, the guy they're facing, no matter who it is. Vargas building. He's not pitching well. No one will try to sell you the bill of goods. He's a good pitcher, but he does have that game he's coming off of, and they don't hit lefties. I think they can hit Anderson. Anderson's, I think, probably the weakest pitcher that the Milwaukee Brewers have. I'm really just going off matchups here. I do think there's a big advantage for Milwaukee in the second half of this game. Do I really want to neutralize Jason Vargas against Chase Anderson? I think at the end of the day, the money's coming back as well. I don't think public money's back in Jason Vargas. I think if that's money at all, it's sharp money just kind of going against Anderson and back in the matchups here. I'm looking towards the Mets here if I played this one.
Yeah, even if you're looking at like that righty-lefty combo or splits out there, you got Nimmo, Cabrera, Bruce, Conforto, and Gonzalez expected to be in the lineup today. So you have that nice, 5 left-handed bats, 3 right-handed bats here to try to give that split. But you're right. It's interesting when you look at it, just the name of Vargas, and, maybe you want to throw out the last start, but they're going to keep it simple with him, Jeff. Even if he gets into trouble early, let's just say he goes 3 or 4 innings, you might get the quick hook because it's apparent that once you start going downhill with him, it's going to be real bad, so to speak. But I like the way they handled it last time. But let's not forget, folks, that was the Marlins. That was at the Mets. Now you're going to be on the road here. Let's see if he can do it again. But looking overall, Jeff, again, as we like to talk about, just in the number and the line movement, it's a Vargas line right now. Yeah,
it totally is. And, you just look at Vargas. I mean, if he just doesn't give up home run, that's a lot of pitchers. They don't give up home runs. They're good. But, I think this is a favorable matchup for him against Milwaukee. So, is it my play of the day? No, but I think it's worth the look, especially given what you're getting plus money-wise here.
Yeah, next up here, 905, 906, Jeff, Washington and Miami, Roark and Chen on the mound. When you're just looking at the names on there, it is a clear pitching mismatch, a clear team talent mismatch. But if we take a look, Jeff, 71% of the tickets coming in early on the Washington Nationals. If we slide it over, opens up Pinnacle 165, Chris at 170. Look at these numbers, Jeff, backing back 153, 149, 150. These numbers are pulling back as well. When you take an overall look, how do you get the Wei and Chen out there, Jeff? He could be hit basically from both sides, but you really want to attack him from the right-hand side. FIP number 7.92, XFIP a 7.78. You want to get as many right-handed bats against him as you can. Roark, decent numbers overall. You can get to him a little bit, Jeff, but as always with the Marlins, some things go topsy-turvy. Last night, if you're a DFS player or if you're just going to say, I'm going to ride with the Washington Nationals early on because of a major advantage, and Max Scherzer should go 7 to 8 innings and peel them back out there. He wasn't able to do that. Gave up 4 earned runs. That was a 4-4 game at one point. It's a matter of what Marlins team you're going to get. It's hard to back the Marlins as is, Jeff. Jeff, it's even harder to back them with a tomato can on the mound.
Yeah, but there's another team, Donnie, struggles against left-handed pitching. Mm-hmm. They're only hitting 218 against lefties. If Wei-Yin Chen is going to pitch well, it's in this game. You also look at the fact that in his 2 home starts, he's only given up 1 run. Over how many innings? Only 9 2/3. So not really a ton to write home with at home. He's pitched pretty well, but he's only had 2 outings. I don't know. This is a tough game because Tanner Roark, I don't really ever want to lay 150 with. I don't want to lay 150 with anyone, let alone Tanner Roark. And the line is peeling back a bit. This is a total skip for me. I don't have much opinion on Marlins Nationals.
Yeah, going to get another big number here, Jeff. 907, 908, San Francisco and Chicago. San Francisco hanging around yesterday, but the floor sort of dropped out on them. They did take a loss yesterday, but the game did not go over the total. Hot day, wind blowing out there. Pitchers, that fly ball pitchers not getting out of the ballpark. Let's take a look today. Jeff Stratton and Quintana on the mound. 61% are going to back the Chicago Cubs. They're backing the Chicago Cubs early out here. Line opens up 187, 195. Chris now sitting at 194, 182. Another big number on the Chicago Cubs. We're getting some advanced numbers here. Stratton, you can be had from the left-hand side, 5.19 FIP, XFIP at 5.17. Those numbers are elevated here. So you're looking at if you can attack him with left-handed bats, you can be able to get on the board. If we take a look at some advanced numbers here, Jeff, with the Chicago Cubs, Zobrist from the left-hand side, Rizzo, looks like you get Happ, Schwarber. So you can put in some left-handed bats, but will they be able to take advantage of Stratton? He's okay from the right-hand side. If we're looking at home splits with Quintana, since obviously Wrigley Field, much harder to pitch at than, say, going down to Miami, Florida. From the left-hand side, XFIP of 5.08. From the right-hand side, 3.98. You can hit him a little bit, but the question is, you're going to trust Stratton in this environment to get it done?
No, not really. And, Quintana, he had some trouble early in the season, but you look at his May starts, he had 1 blow-up. He gave up 6 runs or 4 2/3 against Atlanta, but his other 3 starts were very good for the most part. Last outing went 7 innings, only gave up 1 hit against Cincinnati. This San Francisco team, last 3 games, they've scored 5 runs. They're not scoring. They're starting to not hit either. You look at on the road this year, only hitting 240. Another tough game. All these games we've talked about so far have been tough. Maybe lean over the number. I think Quintana will give some runs up, even though he's pitched pretty well lately. If you could just get 3 if you're the Giants, I have a feeling the Cubs are going to put up some crooked ones today. 9.5. I think just like a 7-4 type of game, something like that. But another one I'm not too interested in.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, not to say you don't have much on the game, but it's, it's a high number to lay. Do I think the Cubs win the game? Yes. Do I want to get involved and lay that type of number? That's really what you're going to decide on. But you're right, not a whole ton to look at there. If we take a look next up, Jeff, Cincinnati and Colorado. Colorado escapes last night with a 1-run victory, but I don't think the game actually went over the total. I believe it was 5-4 yesterday. I believe that final score was. So 11 and a half. Yeah, whatever, 11 or 11 and a half, whatever it closed at. Did not get over the number. 909, 910. Maley on the mound versus Anderson, the lefty. 52% are backing the home team. Colorado Rockies opened up at 135, 140. You're seeing some numbers, Jeff, coming in on the Colorado Rockies here again today versus the Cincinnati Reds. Some advanced numbers here. If you want to get this Cincinnati pitcher, get him from the left side. XFIP looking like 4.79, but his FIP right now, what his numbers are, a 7.47. He does get right-handed batters out quite a bit, but if you can attack him from the left-hand side, you're going to have some success. If we take a look at Anderson at home, left-hand side, 3.78 FIP, 5.92 xFIP, so he can be had from the left-hand side at home. Rockies games in Colorado, games in Coors, Jeff, always completely off my map because I don't think there's a viable way to cap games at all at Coors. I don't have much on this game looking at it overall, Jeff.
Well, and you look at Colorado, they can throw a couple lefties out at you. They can throw Cargo, Charlie Blackmon, Parra, Tony Walters. They have a couple lefties, but not a ton. Most of them are going to come from the right side. Tyler Mahle at Coors just doesn't seem like it's going to work out too well. Colorado, much better offensively in that ballpark, as many have talked about. But listen, Donnie, I'm going to come out and say it. I'm going to go over the number. Even though Cincinnati can't hit left-handed pitching, I still think they find a way to hit Anderson a bit here. Give me 4 runs, maybe 5 runs. I'd lean over the number. This just looks like Mahle's going to give up and get crushed. I'm going to go ahead and say this is like 8-5 or something like that.
Yeah, you could say it. Looks like over-under open up, Jeff, at 11, now sitting at 11.5. Let me get some quick weather. I actually think we have some really good weather in the forecast out there for that game. Let's scroll down, see if we get – yeah, look at this, Jeff. 84 degrees at first pitch, wind blowing out at 12 miles an hour. So you get a little bit of a bump there if you are looking to take the over. And again, if you're going to allow some fly balls out there in Colorado with the wind blowing out, Jeff, and warm weather, usually not a good cocktail for starting pitching. So that's why 11.5 looks like that is the over-under in that game. 9-11, 9-12, Jeff, San Diego and the Dodgers. Lyles versus Wood, 62% going to back the hometown team. The Los Angeles Dodgers opened up at 187, 195. Now you're seeing over 2-1, Jeff, at most outlets out there. 7 across the board. If we take a look at Lyles, he can be had from the left-hand side. FIP 4.84, and his xFIP is a 5. So if you can put some left-handed bats in the lineup versus this kid, you can certainly do some damage. When you take a look, Jeff, at Wood, home, away, doesn't seem like it really interrupts him that much. Left-handed batters, Jeff, a 0.88 FIP, a 1.3 xFIP, and even if you're looking from the right-hand side, very good numbers, 3.18 and 3.73. Good luck hitting this guy, man.
Yeah, I'm going with Dodger run line here. This Wood, he's really starting to pick it up, Donnie. The only concern you have with Alex Wood is, are they going to give him run support? That's been one of the Dodgers' main issues this year. They don't give guys like him and Walker Buehler, they don't give them run support. It's possible, though, San Diego won't score tonight. They're really just dreadful against left-hander. A lot of bad teams against left-handed pitching today. San Diego, another one of them. 215, Donnie, against left-handed pitching on base. 275, just not good. Lyles is kind of a spot starter. He's more of a bullpen guy for them. He's not really a guy you want in there on a regular basis. And look, the Dodgers have won 5 of 7 against San Diego this year. I have a feeling it's similar to last night's game, 4-1, 4-2, something like that. I think the Dodgers do enough. I think just one of those matches, just kind of hold your nose and say, I'm going to bet against a team that can't hit lefties and they have a spot starter on the mound. I think Woods looked pretty damn good lately. You look at his last 3, 17 innings, just 4 earned runs. I would go with the Dodger run line here.
Yeah, not the greatest looking lineup overall. I usually like the San Diego Padres lineups more when they're facing a right-handed batter and they can stack lefties out there. If you take a look at a Dodger perspective, Jeff, as we like to say, versus Lyles, he can be had from the left-handed side. Projected lineup tonight, Peterson from left-handed side, Muncy, Grandal, Bellinger, and also Chase Utley. So you do have the ability to stack some lefties in that lineup to try to make it hard. I think I agree with you on this one. It's either going to be the Dodgers or nothing for me here.
And with Will Myers out of the lineup, when he's not in the lineup for San Diego, there's just not a lot there. I mean, you have Eric Hosmer, you have a couple others, but whenever he's been out for about a month now. Listen, they're just not. They can't hit a left-handed pitcher, and Alex Wood is really starting to get going. Just give me 4 runs. If they can score 3-4 runs, I think they'll cover the run line here.
All right, we will keep it moving here. 9-13, 9-14. Ian Kennedy versus Bartolo Colon. Jeff, 57% of the tickets early coming in on the Texas Rangers, and Bartolo Colon line opened up at 135, 140. We're now seeing 140 to mid 140s across the board. So people trusting the process with Bartolo Colon. If we take a look at some numbers here, Colon 4.12 FIP, 4.18 xFIP from left-handed batters, but he's been pretty solid. His advanced numbers are actually better than what he's giving up, 3.64 xFIP, but a 5.93. So he can be had from the right-handed side of the plate. Looking at Ian Kennedy out there, Jeff, you can stack right-handed batters. That's what you want to do versus him. One of those games where I don't like per se both of these lineups hitting lineup-wise, but sometimes when you just get down in Globe Life and it's hot, the bullpens both suck. It doesn't even matter almost, Jeff, if you can make it through 5 to 6 innings. That 6, 7, 8, and 9 are going to explode because both these teams can't get anybody out in the bullpen.
Exactly. I'm looking over the number here. Ian Kennedy is back to his old ways, giving up a ton of home runs. Right-handers hitting 301 against Ian Kennedy. And, in away games, they're hitting 315 against him. I don't have any reason to think that he's going to be able to get many people out here. And look, Bartolo Colon, for the record, I mean, he has these flashes once in a while, but this Royals lineup's pretty good. I mean, it's crazy to say, but they have been pretty good, actually. They've been good on the road. You mentioned the bullpens, 2 bullpens with major issues. I think you kind of just put balls to the wall and say this one's going to be a high one. 12 of 15 between these two teams have actually been under the number, but you look at last night's game, 8-4, and you have a minor who actually has been pretty good. I think Colon will get touched up a bit. He won't get absolutely crushed, but I think the game goes over. As far as the side, if this was 134, I'd probably go with Texas, but if it's 144, 145, just too much for me. They should win, though, but I think you see a wild game here.
Yeah, you got it. The game I like next here, Jeff, another eye on here, and it seems like I always like to gravitate to these type of games. 2 bad bullpens, 2 lineups they can hit on occasion, and 2 bad pitchers, theoretically, they're going to take the mound, Jeff. 9-15, 9-16, Chicago White Sox, Detroit Tigers, Santiago and Liriano. 70% of the early tickets, Jeff, coming in on Detroit with Liriano on the mound. Opened up at a -130, -135, but that is backtracked also, and I agree with that line movement there. If you're going to look value-wise, down to 121, 118, depending on where you're shopping at. Santiago has been terrible, Jeff, on the mound. Left-handed batters, FIP of 6.78, xFIP of 7.12. Right-handed batters, 5.67, 5.30. But Liriano, he's good versus lefties, Jeff, but the ability that you have that he's going to face today is maybe 8 of 9 bats coming from the right-hand side to face the lefty here. I think there is value in the over. The only problem with that, Jeff, is it opens up at 9, now sitting at 9.5. So you no longer get that 4-4 push like you had last night in that game where you had a worst-case scenario. If they went 5-4, which they did, you got the push out of it, which I did, as opposed to taking loss at 9.5. I just think there's going to be some nice weather here today. 2 pitchers that tend to give up home runs and tend to give up fly balls. I'm looking over in this one.
Yeah, I was quite surprised to see you say that you weren't interested in Liriano. I think he's been fairly good, frankly, from his standpoint. I mean, he's generally not good, but I think he's been pretty damn good. You did make a good point, though, that he's been absolutely marvelous, Donnie, against left-handed hitters, but there ain't any lefties in this lineup that he's going to face. Yeah. Still, the only 231 against right-handed batters. And he's only given up 0.085 home runs a game. If he could just keep that number down, I think it'll be fairly successful. But his FIP is up towards 5. There is there is a regression probably starting to come to Liriano. And look at the number, Donnie. You mentioned 70% of the money's on the Tigers, but the line is backtracked 20 cents. I considered play of the day stuff with this game, but the line movement has me worried. The regression has me worried with Liriano. I think on the surface, the over does look pretty good. I have a weird feeling, though. This is like 5-4. I don't know why. I think that hook's going to hurt you maybe. But I'll tell you what, right now, I'll tell you the best play on the board, and this might be, Donnie, when I do put out a play of the day, I might be looking towards Detroit team total over in this one. You look at against lefties, 5 runs a game, hitting 288. You're getting a bullpen that hasn't been very good either. I'm looking towards maybe a team total over at 4.5 here for Detroit.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because you're looking at the advanced lineup, Jeff. They actually have all 9 batters today are supposed to be from the right-handed side versus Liriano, which he can be torched from. So that should be fun. Again, the more I look at this game now with more of the lineup equations that you're taking a look at, because even when you look at, you get Candelario back in the lineup for Detroit. That's a pretty formidable lineup to go against lefties. And Jeff, as you always say, what is the one thing Detroit does really well? They bang on left-handed pitching. The more and more I look at this game, the more I like it. Again, you're looking at 2 bad bullpens out there as well. So you might just want to lean on it and see if you can get some flares out there, because if you watched the game last night, base runners weren't a problem. They got some clutch hitting later in the ball game to push it, at least a push at the 5-4. But they had 6 runs before 5 innings were up.
And there's an interesting kind of caveat with Detroit. Over the last couple of years, Donnie, I don't know if you've noticed this, they're real good offensively in day games, I've noticed. Like, they always seem to hit like 280 as a club in day games. Like, they're 14-11 in day games this year. You're getting them in a day game from the left-handed side. I think team total over looks pretty good here at 4.5.
Yeah, no, it looks. I like it. I like all the metrics that look at the over in that game. I just wish it was 9, like it opened up. But obviously, the money pushing that to 9.5, and for good reason. When you break it all down, looks like Matt Davidson will be back in the lineup today. So a nice, formidable lineup, all the way through. Where last night, batters 7, 8, and 9 for the Chicago White Sox are basically trash. Even though they did pick up a couple base hits out there, we'll see what takes place. But that game definitely has my eye. Taking a look more on the total side of that one, Jeff. We'll keep it going here. Interesting one yesterday, Jeff. The flavor of the day, which thank goodness I avoided it, even though I actually really liked it. It was high on my card. The Rays yesterday, Jeff, first 5 innings. That didn't work out. Rays full game yesterday didn't work out. Hell, the Rays didn't even score yesterday against David Hess on the mound. So you're going to go back today. Cash Kashner is going to be on the mound versus Stanek. Another one of those bullpen games, those sneaky Rays playing Moneyball. Didn't work out yesterday, but if you would have told me at the beginning of the show, Jeff, hey, look, Rays are only going to give up 2 runs over 9 innings. That's a stone-cold Rays winner. They didn't even score yesterday. So taking a look at this one, Jeff opened up at -135, -140 in favor, again, of the Tampa Bay Rays. Pretty much staying on that number, about a 50-50 ticket split in this one. An interesting one, Jeff, what always makes it hard to cap with Tampa Bay, though, is because you like to look at the pitcher matchup when you don't even know really who the pitcher matchup is when you're going into Tampa Bay games sometimes.
Yeah, I got to be honest, man. Tampa Bay is about the most boring team to me. I never bet on them. I hate that stadium they're in. And you couple the Orioles into that matchup, I really don't care. Cashner, just a middle-of-the-road pitcher. Stanek, he's just been a middle-of-the-road pitcher. He hasn't really pitched much either.
He's going to throw 1 inning, Jeff. He's going to throw 1 inning, and then they're going to play their starter in the second through, just like they did yesterday.
How am I supposed to cap a game like that?
Yeah, no, you can't. Yeah.
Pass.
No, you're right. And you're looking at an environment, you say, oh, well, maybe the bullpen's going to be involved and maybe Baltimore can wake up. Tampa Bay, I don't know if they have I don't know if the whole place is actually a humidor because the ball doesn't travel too well down in the dome as is. But you're right. When you're looking at it from a capping standpoint out there, when you don't theoretically know how long somebody's going to go in pitching, it's pretty hard to cap.
I'm going to get on my faith. I'm going to get on my betting political stance right now. We have to stop as bettors from just betting because a game is on or there's a game on the card. You don't have to bet every game. You don't. This is one where there's no real formidable way. How do you know? Kevin Cash, isn't he? How do you know what he's going to do? I just don't. I don't get why you're wanting to bet toss-ups here.
No, you're right. If you're looking just from an overall team-to-team standpoint, I think Tampa Bay is better. But, I'm a guy like if you told me, hey, look, Eagles going to play the Giants this weekend, but I'm not going to tell you who actually is going to be a quarterback, I'll pass on that game,
Exactly.
Even though the Eagles would beat them regardless of quarterback. So no big deal. 919, 920, Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim going to invade the Bronx again, Jeff. One would have thought the ball would have traveled far last night, but, not much. Aaron Judge out there putting on a show in right field, just, throwing 100-mile-an-hour dots to the plate, throwing lobs in the second base, knocking guys out, trying to, extend from first to second. An amazing night there for the left-hander, but not much scoring out there. The only the only run coming from the Angels side was a Mike Trout home run. Get back into it today. Maybe you loosen up Berea. out there versus Sonny Gray, about a 50-50 ticket split, Jeff. Opened up at 160 at most outlets, sitting in the mid-150s at this time. If we take a look and break it down, Sonny Gray hasn't been good, Jeff. If we take a look at just, again, his home splits there, since Yankee Stadium is a hitter's ballpark. From the left-handed side, FIP is at 4.78, xFIP 5.56. And then if you're looking at his FIP from the right-hand side, Jeff, 8.27. Getting a little bit unlucky there, but when you're talking about a 5.80 xFIP, it seems like anybody can hit him. The only problem is, Jeff, the Angels go dormant quite a bit out there, especially when they go on the road. Can the bats wake up? Because if we're looking at over-under, Jeff, across the board, opens up at 9.5. They all sit at 10 now.
Yeah, and the Yankees kind of off the field have a conundrum. I mean, you're bringing Greg Bird up, and what are you doing? With who are you going to send down? I think it should be Neil Walker. Frankly, problem is you're going to have to cut Neil Walker probably.
Yeah.
Listen, I do like his position versatility as far as that sounded kind of weird, but his baseball position versatility in the infield. Maybe you do AJ Cole as well. You send him down. He can got to be the odd man out, but you need to keep certain people up. Tyler Alston's playing well. He needs to stay up. So we'll see what they do there. But as far as in this game, I mean, at what point do I probably start to buy into Jamie Barria? Maybe it's now. Problem is, Donnie, and you look at even the one test he's had at Coors, 5 1/3, didn't get a run. This another test, Yankee Stadium, a small ballpark with mashers on both sides. They're going to be able to hit you from the left side. They're going to be hit you from the right side. I don't trust Sonny Gray, though. And the Angels aren't hitting right now. That's another concern I have. But they are good on the road. They have Barria. You know what, Donnie? I have a feeling this is going to be like, do you remember when that kid Domingo Germán came in and had like two good starts? And then he got crushed. Crushed by Oakland. I have a feeling that's what's going to happen today. I think this could be a sneaky good overplay. The number's too high, though, at 10. Weather's really good. From a fan perspective, I'll root that Sonny Gray could pitch well here. But other than that, I don't see many bettable opportunities here.
Yeah, when you look at that game too, 1 through 9 on both. I mean, if they're star-studded lineups, you just hope they can turn it on and hit. And if Sonny Gray sticks with his numbers and doesn't turn into, A's 4 p.m. on a Wednesday, Sonny Gray out in Oakland when nobody's paying attention, and he goes 7 innings and 1 earned run. We'll see if those lights come on. But it's always tough when you take an under in Yankee Stadium, Jeff. Sometimes you probably shouldn't even watch the game because every single batter that comes into the plate can take it yard out there. So it's always something to keep an eye on and watch.
What would be the probability that you could hit a home run at that stadium?
Now probably, pretty low at this point, but
let's say at your highest height of academic or
yeah. No, you could definitely short right-hand porch. Sure, of course.
Yeah. It seems like you feel like you throw the ball and throw it out of the park.
Yeah, got those short porches out there. Give me a nice warm night, a little bit of wind blowing out there. Sure, you catch when you can knock that ball out of there, of course. Doug Peterson was hitting home runs the other day at Citizens Bank Park. How old's he?
50.
Yeah, come on.
You're not too far away from that, though, are you?
No, I'm not. Next year I'll be 50. Yeah.
Jeez, getting up there, bro. That sucks. I thought you were like in your 30s.
921, 922. Houston and Cleveland, Jeff. Alert. We've seen a couple of these games already. Pitchers, and more pitchers Houston on the mound. Yeah, I know where you're going with this one. It's the same type of situation, isn't it? Throw a good pitcher out there, great xFIP and FIP numbers there in McCullers versus Carrasco, who also has decent numbers. But when it really comes down to it, when you're taking these coin flip type games, you look at one lineup and you say, you know what? I trust it a little bit more. You look at one bullpen. I really trust it a little bit more than the other side. Man. And it's the same thing. Yeah. Yesterday, you just hang on. If you can make it through the first 5 innings, you can gut that Indians bullpen.
Kluber was cruising.
Yeah.
You take him out. Bro, the Houston Astros had no runs when Kluber went out in the 6th inning. None. They scored 11 runs in the game. You look at the night before. Clevinger, pretty good. I think he gave up 3 runs. They gave up 8 in that game. I mean, this bullpen blows, man. And they're constantly pitching, Donnie. They're always in there. It seems like I see Olsen and Drake and all those guys. It seems like I see them every night. Listen, when I'm getting a coin flip with the Astros, I'm taking it. I just am. And last night really proved to me that I don't really care who the Astros face, but Cleveland has no chance against Houston. If you can honestly tell me you think Cleveland's viable with this bullpen, you're fucking blind. Go out, get yourself a LASIK surgery, and look again, because they're not doing shit with this bullpen. This bullpen, Donnie, at home has an ERA over 7. Just dreadful stuff. Dreadful stuff. I'm all over the Astros here, and I'm going to rock with them as my 3rd straight play of the day.
Yeah. I knew you would like that. But again, it keeps Jeff. Is it the same MO that comes up here? Like, they're not throwing like just a guy out there just to get you through.
No.
Formidable starting pitching, very good bullpen, timely hitting. That's the Houston Astros. It's hard to beat because you saw the other, was it Clevenger on the mound cruising through up 4.5. All of a sudden he's up 2-0. Now he's down 3-2 and the bullpen's a part of the play. Game gets away. Same thing yesterday, man. Looks like it could be possibility of the same thing, over and over again. But I like where you're going on that one because it's all about price. Yeah.
I'm also going to point this out, and I might, bother some people because I'll tell you what, other than LeBron James, the city of Cleveland, I can't stand. All they do is whine and complain, and they should, because the Browns are complete laughingstock. The Indians get to the finals and lose. And I'm going to say one other thing. This team isn't very good. All right. And luckily they're in the AL Central, so they'll have a cakewalk and they'll be not very good and still win. But this lineup stinks, okay? Other than Brantley and Lindor, maybe Jose Ramirez, they stink. Encarnacion's massive failure. Yonder Alonso failure. Jason Kipnis, is he even hitting 180? No. Brandon Geyer, Greg Allen, Rajai Davis, all hacks. Chisenhall, hack. Melky Cabrera, I didn't even know he was in the major leagues anymore. Hack. They're not any good, okay? Luckily, they'll get their playoffs because they're in a completely shit division. But this team stinks, okay? They're not any good. Don't buy into the Indians. They're big price layers. They don't ever win, and their bullpen blows.
Yeah, well said. Hey, we'll see if they turn out. But again, you're right. They do play in a poor division. And by the time everything comes around, they get healthy. They're probably going to be a player. Their bats will come around. But, hey, look, you're playing Houston, man. It's hard to beat Houston at all. And then they're throwing these gems at you each night and just, decking you out there late into your bullpen.
Brad Barquin, why don't you just – what do you mean you disagree? What did I say incorrect there? Explain what you mean, Brad. Their bullpen's good? They got a good lineup? I mean, Brad, they do have a losing record. I mean, am I saying anything that's incorrect here? Donnie, they're first in the AL Central, and they have a losing record. That's all you need to know about this division. That's
a poor division. They're gonna get a lot of help from that being a poor division there, where you never squeeze because if we can always play that fun game of, well, if they were in the AL East, yeah, they'd be dead and buried at this point. You're right.
Yeah, again, I'm not coming at Brad. Just explain what you mean, Brad. I don't really. I don't really know what you mean. Kluber's capable of beating Houston. Shut him down. Yeah, but he didn't. You have to have all those components, Rostradamus, to win games. If you're betting Cleveland, I think it's important you're betting first 5 at this point. It just is. Yeah,
and on paper they should have a very good bullpen, but they don't. Hey, sometimes you can't play it all on
Brad
paper,
Brad
right?
Though, a good listener. Ordered a shirt. I just want to hear what he means. I don't know that I don't get what he means, but let us know.
Next up, Jeff, 9:23, Minnesota and Seattle. Jeff, sitting back in my chair last night. The Big Maple's out there dealing, gives up a solo home run. For some reason, I still can't pick up the first 5-run line winner there with Seattle. Ends up at 1-1. Back to the scene of the crime. Similar situation, Jeff. Another lefty is going to take the mound here towards Minnesota. If we're looking, Odorizzi's going to be on the mound. His advanced numbers versus lefties, not good at all, Jeff. 6.11 FIP, 5.16 xFIP. He's okay against right-handed batters, 3.85, 4.25 splits there. But if we take a look at LeBlanc, how do you get after the lefty? The same way with the Big Maple last night. You need a lot of left-handed bats in the lineup. That's not what Minnesota does. They're going to come from the right-hand side tonight again. We'll see if they can hit it, but you can get him from the left side. But the problem, again, Minnesota doesn't do that. If we're looking at numbers across the board, Jeff, LeBlanc opens up at 140, 145, but that's dipped back into the 120s here. Miguel Sano is back in the lineup. We'll see if that can make a difference tonight with the lefty LeBlanc. But, same type of MO. Can the Minnesota Twins hit a left-handed pitcher tonight on the road?
No. I don't think either team will hit tonight. I think the under looks pretty good. Both these teams just look lost offensively right now, particularly Seattle. And look, for good reason. I mean, you lose Gordon, you lose Cano. It's going to happen to your lineup. Only hitting 212 or 216 over the last week or so. Minnesota struggles against lefties, as you pointed out. This one's short and sweet to me. Wade LeBlanc has been really good. All 4 of his starts have gone under the number. Odorizzi has been particularly good lately, 6-3 to the under in his 9 starts. I'm looking towards an under at 8. I think this number's a bit too high, Donnie.
Yeah, but not the hitter's ballpark, to say the least, out there. To say the opposite, I should say, in Seattle, that big cavern out there. Again, it all comes down to splits and matchups. Sometimes you just don't want to overthink it. Is LeBlanc as good as Paxton? No, but at least he's a left-hander, and we'll see. You're going to have to prove it that you can hit left-handed pitching before you're going to earn some money out there, Jeff. Keep it moving down here. 927, 928, Toronto and Philadelphia. Jaime Garcia, welcome back. The left is going to take them out after a short stint on the 10-day DL for shoulder soreness, elbow soreness, wrist soreness, whatever it is. You know, his head should be sore at the amount of runs he was giving up at this point. Nola's going to be on the mound. But again, it's all about value, right, Jeff? 75% are going to back the Phillies, who didn't win last night with Gavilio on the mound. Now you're going to face Garcia. One should be able to think you can open it up a little bit versus him. -187, -195. Now you're going to pay, Jeff, 2-1 if you're going to get Aaron Nola in this game versus Jaime Garcia. It is a mismatch overall, Jeff. But if you take a look at some of the Nola numbers, especially at home splits to a lefty, Jeff, 2.89, 3.64. Very good. Take a look versus right-handed bats, where most of the time Toronto's going to do their damage. 1.79 FIP, 1.48 xFIP. Didn't give up much to right-handed bats at Citizens Bank, Jeff.
Donnie, you gave your little show last week where you gave out a lot of good information. I'm going to give out one piece as well.
Piece it.
It is imperative, if you're betting baseball, be you betting it not more than 2 hours from game time. Last night, you were absolutely fleeced if you took the Phillies yesterday. Absolutely fleeced. If you would have just waited, watched the line movement, you would have seen Toronto was the play last night. It was dead in the water all day, perfect, setting itself up. You have to wait till at least 5:30, 6 o'clock to bet these games. If you're betting games 6, 7 hours beforehand, that's why for me, like, I'm not a big, how do you bet overnight? Like, I don't know how people do that. Once in a while, maybe I'll do it, but I don't see how you can.
Or at least the major movement that comes in is when the lineups break out there as well. Like, you have all morning to monitor these lines. And usually the lineup, Jeff, 7 o'clock game is going to come out about 3:30, 4:30 at that time. You know what I mean? You're right. Bet like the overnight line where you're trying to steal something. I get it. But I'm just the type of guy that says, you know what? I want to make sure the weather's right. I want to make sure the lineups are right out there. You know, I don't want any late scratches or anything like that. There is, you know, something to be said about jumping a line in football, because you can anticipate like who's actually going to play quarterback and who's going to be the wide receiver. Sometimes you just got to get a look at that lineup too, man. Get those numbers.
Donnie, listen. I mean, yesterday the Phillies opened the 140.
Yeah.
Blue Jays closed 120 as a favorite. Yet all the money was on the Phillies. I mean, if you can just pick those off daily and win in baseball. Like, you have to wait until the end of the, a half hour beforehand, an hour beforehand. I would say 2 hours, where you could see where the kind of the lines have set, lineups have come out. I'm all over that as far as waiting. I can't wonder. And then I see the line and it's moved 40, 50 cents. And I'm like, fuck, man, I'm off this. As far as this one, do we have the same situation today? No. You have a strong line for the Phillies here against a guy in Garcia who has not pitched well. You mentioned coming off the DL. Phillies, I got to tell you, Donnie, I think they jump all over Garcia in this one. I think if you're going down to this game today, you can expect some nice offensive numbers for the Phils. Garcia has been brutal. He's really not been able to get anyone out, and he's coming off an injury. Nola's on the mound. Looks like a perfect situation for the Phillies run line here, Donnie. This Toronto lineup, not good. They've really struggled lately. This one looks pretty straightforward to me. You're getting a number out there that makes sense. Aaron Nola at this point is a 1-2 favorite. That's just the truth of the matter. They're at home. Phillies are the Phillies. I think even money laying the run line, I don't hate it. I think this one's pretty straightforward, Donnie.
Yeah, you know what's interesting about that too, when you Aaron Nola at home and you want to wait on that. I like to look into things that are a little bit, on the edges. If you're taking a look at a DL stint for Garcia, right, Jeff? So I'm going back and doing the numbers, saying, usually when you get a DL stint, what do? They send you to AA or AAA, get a start under your belt to come back. Jeff, if your arm is hurt and you go on the DL, why did you not go get a rehab start? You're just good to go, and you're going to be just right back out there good as new without trying to correct the form or do anything? Or you had a side bullpen session? That always raises flags for me, because that sort of seems like, bro, you suck right now. Let me just give you time off to go sit in the corner so we can skip your next start, and then you can come back in here. Because if it was a true injury, he was trying to just get over something, he would have had a rehab start to work the kinks out. That wasn't the play. So he's just going right back out there with his same self on the mound.
Exactly. That's a good point by you. Do you trust line movements more than capping? In baseball, basketball, NBA? Yeah. I mean, if you have a move like that Blue Jay game, I don't need to cap. Actually, I'll be honest, Donnie, I don't cap. I have no interest. In the NBA, I don't cap at all. I just strictly look at the move. Like, that's all I care about in the NBA, regular season and baseball. There are certain games where you don't have to cap. You just don't.
Yeah, and also perspective on that. You can't just, most people that just think like, oh, why don't we just, if the line drops, then we're going to take the other team. A lot of factors have to go into that, because let's just say you're looking at a game with the Phillies and the lineups come out and Rhys Hoskins is sitting, Odubel Herrera is sitting, Cesar Hernandez is sitting. Yes, the line is going to automatically drop because you don't have as good a lineup. The ones that make it interesting is when you look at like a ticket split. Like, let's just say you have 35% of the tickets and 40% of the money, Jeff. Let's just say theoretically yesterday on the Blue Jays. The lineups come out and nothing really changes, and that line continues to dip down lower. That's one of those flags you like to look at. But yes, I mean, hey, Jeff, well, you said that was going to work. Well, if Chris Sale is going to pitch and get scratched for a bullpen guy, of course the line's going to drop, because the pitcher's out of the game. There has to be some extenuating circumstances. But when everything is equal in play and the line moves like 20 cents, that's always a flag you want to take a look at to try to dig deeper into.
Exactly. And like Donnie said, I mean, it obviously has to make sense, the right move. It has to go the right way. The public money has to be on one side and it's going the other way, that kind of thing. But listen, Marco Lou, you're obviously going to make a case for everything we say today. So I get what you're saying. You have your opinion. I disagree. I think for me, there are certain games where I'm going to look strictly at the move, and the move is there. I'm going to go with it. Does it work every single time? No. But I think there's a viable case you can make for every argument in the history of the world. Someone will bring up, I could cure polio, and someone will say, but you didn't do it quick enough. There's always going to be an argument back. All I'm saying, I think there are certain, and I don't do it all the time, I think there are one or two cases a day where we can find that false flag action. And, I thought Toronto last night was that play probably.
Yeah, last game on the board, Jeff, 4:05 start here, 9:29, 9:30, Arizona and Oakland last night. Interesting game. You should have a good pitching matchup out there. Corbin was fantastic for Arizona, which I actually agreed with Arizona, even though they're so poor at the plate. Mane just a little bit off there. Nice night for Arizona. We'll see if they can get back tonight. But Buchholz on the mound, he had one good start. We'll see if he can parlay in the two good starts here. Oakland, as we know, typically a very good hitting lineup. Obviously, a pitcher's ballpark out there in Oakland. If you look at 55% of the tickets, Jeff, early coming in on the Oakland Athletics, opened up at 135, 140. Jeff, what are we sitting at now? Betting Mengden up to 165. Jeff, not a lot of people believing out there in the arm of Clay Buchholz.
Oh, wow. I mean, I don't know why you would. He did pitch pretty well in his first outing, though, against the Mets. So that's a bit surprising. But the belief in laying 160 with Mengden is a bit of a conundrum. But the other night, Lance Lynn was laying 160, and I laid it. This is a bit less pronounced, though. You don't have the certain situation that one was. This is a pass for me, Donnie. Two teams that I don't have any interest in. The plays that I like today. Going to go Houston play of the day. Definitely kind of like that. I'm starting to look more into that White Sox Tiger game. That Tiger team total over looks pretty good. Maybe, an under in the Seattle Twin game. I think 8's a bit too high. Concerned that one went up to 8. It seems interesting. I feel like that's a total under game. But maybe Phillies run line. There's some good ones today, Donnie. Tough card for the most part, but 3 or 4 good spots.
Yeah. Also, if you're looking at, some good line movement, the one we picked on earlier, the very first game up in the day, looking at Jack Flaherty, again, open up at a pick 'em. I believe when we opened the show, Jeff, 112, 113. That now sits at minus 117 at Pinnacle and minus 119 at Chris. I think St. Louis is a formidable side there. If we take maybe a sneaky over-under play, Jeff, one that goes under the radar is that Washington-Miami game. If you're looking across the board, you're getting it at 8 today. You can, Roar can be hit. Chen can be hit at times. You saw it last night. If there's a game that's not going to go over, it would have been last night with Max Scherzer. That game easily goes over the total. Maybe a sneaky one, because I always like, Jeff, when Washington goes on the road, are they the best lineup right now without Zimmerman and without Daniel Murphy? No. But if I'm going to be able to get a full 9 at-bats against a bad pitcher to me and a really bad bullpen, sometimes it's worth the while, because we're not looking at 8.5, 9, 9.5, or 10. It's only 8. That's also worth it. And then getting back to the other 4 o'clock game, Jeff, the one that we're talking about, Chicago White Sox and the Detroit Tigers out there. I think there's going to be runs out there just because of what you like to feast on. All right-handed bats going against Liriano, the only way to go in that point. So I think there's something, and again, something to be said, Jeff, about 2 bad baseball teams out there. They typically lead to errors, bad bullpen play, not the best strategy out there, which should lead to runs. Those are the 3 games that I'm picking on today. We'll see if we can find some winners in those.
Yeah, I'm still trying to understand that. I just saw something on Twitter, Donnie, where someone said, and I actually know this guy, Rainmaker. I've known him for many years.
Pittsburgh.
Back in the day. Yeah, Rainmaker from Pittsburgh. Lou actually said he doesn't think LeBron's the best player in the league, let alone ever. I'm still trying to wrap my head around that. Come on, Lou. You're better than that, man. You're smarter than that. You're a good guy. I've known you for many years, but come on, man. And listen, I love the whole thing with LeBron. The argument is always, oh, he complains too much. Every big star complains. I mean, stop with that. Who cares? He's playing a game. He's manipulating people. That's what you do. You do whatever you can to win. Tom Brady does it. Everybody does it. You complain. That's just how it goes. I mean, who doesn't complain in sports nowadays, Donnie?
Everybody complains.
I mean, come on, man, with that. Like, who cares that he pretended he tore his ACL? Who cares if he – I don't care about that. I don't give a shit about that. When you, at the end of the day, could pull your hate away and say, I'm not going to hate this guy, even though maybe I don't personally like him, but there's no real reason to personally not like him, just because he's rich, he's good at what he does, he's absolutely dominating. There's actually people that let that overshadow that he's not a great player. I mean, explain. So I also hear the people, I don't like Tom Brady because he's good looking and he has a hot wife and he's got a perfect life and I probably don't. So I'm just going to hate on Tom Brady my whole life. Come on, man. What does it have to do with sports? Nothing. You're still going to recognize greatness. Doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with anything. Show some respect that he's not the best player in the league. Come on, man. You're not serious.
But again, Jeff, it all gets back to the old notion with LeBron, which when he is great, you already expected. Like, what did LeBron get last night? 46, 11, and 9. Yeah, it sounds about right. Again, I always like to get back to, if Damian Lillard had that in the game 6, people would be putting up that he's just as good as LeBron and Durant. But since it's LeBron, you see it every single night. And it only seems to be getting better. Jeff, the guy's 33 years old, and he's dropping 46 in the playoffs, not missing a beat. Should be fun. But if we don't, Jeff, get a good finals, which I don't think we will, at least we got 2 Game 7s that we can chew on, some good environments. And if I had my druthers, the best matchup in the finals for me would be LeBron taking on the Rockets, just because I think that LeBron can give them a little bit more problems. But again, as long as I get LeBron in the finals, I'll be able to watch it and tune in and have some fun. But at least we have Game 7s.
So when if I'm LeBron James and I hurt my leg, let's say last night, and it hurts me, because that's generally what happens when you get injured. It hurts really initially, then the pain subsides quickly and it's not a serious thing and you move on. So LeBron can't show any emotion that something hurts him. Keep in mind, it seems like he never is out of games. I mean, has he ever had a big injury, Donnie?
Nope. Even the one game, he probably had a concussion. The one game we took the elbow or the shoulder from Tatum, and he comes back in the game. He's never had a catastrophic injury. No.
But remember, all he does is complain about injuries. He's never in there. He's always whining about something. He hurts too. He's not like some kind of crazy warrior. He hurts sometimes. Yeah, he hurts sometimes. Get over yourselves with this.
All right, big man. Nice little hour we spent here on the closing line at sportsbookreview.com. Went over the entire baseball card. Some good things to pick on. I like it, Jeff. We still have 2 games in basketball left. We also have some hockey Monday night. Next week, I believe, is the Belmont, I believe, is next week or the following week after that. So we'll have some Triple Crown action to talk about moving forward. But the weather is nice. It's Memorial Day weekend, Jeff. Barbecues. Going to take the kid to the pool today. What are you doing today? Anything? Got anything planned?
My family has a wedding. I don't know. They've asked my dad always tries to get me to come up and help him do stuff, but I don't know. I'm going to the shore next week, I think, and that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I maybe run up there and see what they're doing up there. Try to help them if they need something. This is only the 3rd wedding, so maybe I'll go up there. I don't know. I have nothing planned. I'm definitely going to watch. Actually, then again, I want to watch Champions League, so am I really going to go do that? I don't know. We'll see. Who knows? That's just good about summer, Donnie. You can just decide on doing stuff whenever. Getting late nights, it doesn't get dark till late. Quick, Donnie, real quick. Somebody's asking, Mr. ESPN, about fixed games. Listen, I don't really subscribe. Listen, there's some things that are a little concerning, maybe. But look, I don't think there's some kind of crazy we're going to fix games and make it to game 7. Are there some calls that go the wrong way sometimes? Sure. But I don't know if they're pronounced as maybe you're leading on. Everyone have a great day. As far as today's Champions League, I have Liverpool 9-1. I'll be hedging with Real Madrid, and I'll watch this game. I'll have some man of the match props and things like that. I'll throw them out on Twitter in an hour. So everyone have a great day. Donnie Wright said great hosting stuff today. You did not get over the number of 7. So if you cashed on the under, you're a winner. Donnie did not say we'll have some fun more than 7 times. Everyone have a great day. My play of the day, I'm going to go Houston. What are we? -105, +105.
Yep.
Everyone have a great day. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you Monday here on the Right Side of Campus. Bye-bye.